Welcome to Faith in 5, a weekly video devotional designed to discuss practical spiritual concepts in 5 minutes or less. I'm your host, Mark Vandella. So busting myths has become a big deal recently. And maybe not that recently, but with the internet and everything, we stopped just believing things that we were always told, and people have been making a living off of busting myths. One of my favorite shows to tune into once in a while is Mythbusters, and they do a great job of debunking all the things that we see in movies that we think might be true in real life. And sometimes it kind of ruins movie watching for me, but it's fascinating to see some of the things that they get to do. And it turns out that you can't actually blow up a car by shooting a bullet into the gas tank. You can't also flip a motorcycle by sticking a stick in the spokes of the motorcycle. It just breaks the stick. And I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. A shotgun won't actually backfire on the shooter just by sticking your finger in the barrel to prevent the bullet or the shotgun shell spray from coming out. Crazy, right? But what if I told you that there are certain myths that we haven't debunked? There are certain myths in our lives, there are certain myths that impact our relationships that actually hurt our relationships. They slowly erode these relationships over time because we've been believing myths that are not true. We are starting a new series called Marriage Myths, where we've partnered with The Meaningful Marriage to kind of look at some of the things that Meaningful Marriage has studied about marriage and figured out some of the things that we believe that actually hurt relationships as they continue to develop or don't develop in that way. And so we're a couple weeks away from Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day has come and gone, and unfortunately, that means that many of us have stopped investing or we've kind of not paid as much attention to our relationships because the big day has come and gone. And so what we're going to try to do in this series is provide some opportunities to engage with your relationship well beyond Valentine's Day. And as we do that, hopefully that continues throughout our relationships. And don't worry, if you're not married or you're not in a significant relationship, a lot of the things that we'll talk about also apply directly to our faiths. And so the first myth that we are going to talk about is the decision myth. See, a lot of people believe, and I can admit that I was the same way, a lot of us believe that I made a decision to marry the person that I chose, and that decision will last forever. And I used to believe that, and I didn't understand how somebody could get to a spot in their relationship and not want that relationship anymore. Or get divorced. Like, it did not make sense to me because I made a decision, and I am resolved to keep that promise. But then I got married. Sorry, babe. But it's not always easy. It's difficult at times, and there are things in our lives that cause us to ask different questions. One decision a long time ago is not enough to make marriage last. In fact, one of the things that we can learn from our faith and apply to our relationship is this idea that we need to pick up our cross daily. In John 9:23, Jesus says that if anybody wants to come after me, it's not a one-time decision that lasts forever. You have to deny yourself and then pick up your cross daily and follow me. This myth, debunking this myth, applies directly to our faith and it applies to our marriages. It's not a one-time decision that lasts forever. Now, it's a promise that should last, but the reality is life is difficult. There are a lot of things that come at us and distract us, confuse us. We change over time. We don't look the same that we do 20 years later. We may not have the same jobs. We might not live in the same areas. Things get difficult. But in our marriage and in our faith, it's not just a one-time decision. Jesus even says it. It's a daily decision. When we wake up in the morning, we get to choose to follow Jesus. And when we wake up in the morning, every single day, we get to choose the person that we chose one time long ago. But we have to do that on a daily basis to make marriage last. And so don't be caught up or don't get caught by the decision myth that you believe that your marriage is going to be as good and awesome forever, or that your faith is going to be the same forever because you made one decision. It's something we have to do daily. And so this week, in your faith and in your key relationships, examine whether or not you regularly choose, that you make a decision to pick up your cross and say, this is what I choose every single day, day in and day out. And by choosing that, I will invest in it, I will engage in it, and I will do so way more often than just one day per year, like Valentine's Day or Christmas or Easter, that this is something we do every day to manage our relationships.